Hello everyone, welcome to Manitoulin Cooks. I'll be your host and my name is Tammy Albers. This is our first show. I'm pretty excited and a little nervous. So we will be covering things from cooking demos, which I'm going to do today, to visiting other producers, other home cooks, other restaurants, other gardens, other farmers markets. We're going to feature all things delicious Manitoulin food and all the wonderful people that produce it. I've been on this island for, 28 years. And I love it. I loved it as soon as we drove on the island. I don't ever want to leave. I was raised on the East Coast. This is a lot like home, you know, without some things like annoying aunties or something. Did I say that, Dad? I'm sorry. So today we're going to make a vegan roasted garlic and potato and leek soup. Shouldn't take very long, but and I've done a lot of pre-prep. So first I have a pot. So I use grapeseed oil a lot. It's a very neutral flavor. It's got a good smoke point. A lot of people when they cook vegan use coconut oil, and I don't mind baking with it, but it does impart a coconutty taste when you're not wanting it. So grapeseed oil, put a smidge. Don't need a lot of oil for anything. Most foods have their own natural fats. These are wild leeks that I harvested last year. Let me hold some up. I harvested them last year. They have tall green leaves. And when you're harvesting ethically, especially leeks, because they take up to 7 years to produce, you only take a few from every bunch. And I mean a small few. If you want to use the leaf only, you can cut as much of that off as you want, and you can dry it and use it as a spice. You can puree it as a pesto and freeze it. It does a lot of wonderful things, like many things that grow wild on Manitoulin. So I'm going to dice this. It doesn't have to be fancy because we're going to puree. And I have a very dear chef friend who doesn't even look when he's cutting. That's not me. I am the queen of clumsy. We are not going to do that. When you're peeling root vegetables like potatoes or carrots, give them a really good washing and save all your peeling. Save your carrot tops, save your onion skins, save everything. Just keep putting them in a bag in the freezer, and then you can make your own vegetable broth and have that thing simmer all day. And you're imparting all sorts of nutrients, all sorts of local flavor. Most of the stuff I use, I try to access locally. I've got great farmer neighbors, and I've got a lot of farmer friends, and I do try and forage when I can. So we're going to saute these leeks. If you want, oh, I hear sizzle. That's excellent. Because these have been frozen, we don't have to saute them quite as long because they've already softened from the ice crystals in the freezer. I do have a background in food science, so I know that some of the science around the ice crystals and the crystalline structure that happens when food is frozen, and that's why so many of it needs to be blanched. Isn't that a great word? Excellent. We're sauteing. Things are softening. It's breaking up a bit, which is good. And look at the hand just going around. Okay, so I've made my vegetable broth. I freeze it in really large mason jars upright in my freezer in the basement. So we're adding the potatoes. And we're adding, la 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 la, I'm running around like a fool. We're adding a pinch of nutmeg and 2 bay leaves. And we're giving it a stir. We're turning it up to high. And I don't put salt and pepper in this stuff until we're ready to serve because everyone's palate is different. Okay, so now we just wait for this to boil and simmer. And when the potatoes are soft, we'll be back. Please pause for station identification. I'm going to test the tenderness of the potatoes. And I think survey says they're ready. For now, I'm turning the burner off. We don't need to waste that energy. I'm grabbing my ratty oven mitts. And I want to say, because I'm frugal, some people would say cheap. I think I'm frugal. You don't need to buy top of the line stuff. I buy Dollarama oven mitts religiously. A lot of my little dude, like my cheese grater was my grams. My ice cream scoop was my grams. A lot of stuff I've gotten at yard sales or cheap stores. I have a few high-end items. I love my, Instapot and my air fryer and things like that. But mostly you just don't have to do it. I'm getting my wooden spoon and I'm going to root around for the bay leaves because they really impart a great amount of flavor, but they hurt going down. You don't want to eat a bay leaf. And did you know you could smoke bay leaves? And they really are medicinal for bronchial issues. So you can not smoke them, but put them on a fire or inhale the smoke. Okay, I know there's another bay leaf here. And there you are, my pretty. There you are, you're coming out. I'm moving the oven mitts. And there we go. So I have roasted a head of garlic. I'm sure many of you do this on the regular. And I have a regular head of garlic here. So I'm not going to roast this on camera because I'm frugal and I'm going to use the garlic for other things. A couple things you should know about garlic and onions is they're antimicrobial, antibacterial, and antiviral, which is very cool. And if you cut them and let them rest for a minute, even just 1 minute, before you cook with them, it releases a lot of the chemicals that become medicinal. So they're partly nature's antibiotic. So I have roasted this garlic. I have cut the top off so every clove is exposed. A lot of people drizzle oil on it. I don't drizzle oil. I think it's kind of a clear on waste of oil. So you cut the top off so every clove is exposed. You wrap it in foil. You bake it till it's soft. And this is my favorite cooking word, smushy. Soft and smushy. And then you squeeze. And it comes out looking kind of gross, but kind of fun. It's even great to spread on. So you can roast a bunch of heads of garlic in the fall or in the spring when you've harvested your garlic. Whenever people harvest garlic. I haven't grown garlic yet, but I want to grow garlic. And you can roast a lot of garlic and then do the plop method for freezing. You can a teaspoon and a teaspoon and a teaspoon on wax paper on a cookie sheet. And then you put the teaspoons in a bag, and you know that you can take some roasted garlic. It's a milder, mellower, less sharp taste of garlic, but it imparts a really lovely flavor. So this beast is quite ancient. And she just passed on a lot of things to me because I asked her before I moved away to Ontario if there was anything I could have of hers. And she said, well, what would you like, dear? I said, I just want a couple of your wooden spoons. She said, that's it. And the old hand mixer. And she said, that's it? I said, yeah, because that's what we do. And quilting needles and things like that, because she taught me to quilt and knit and crochet. So she gave me a bunch of stuff and an amazing few pieces of cranberry glass that were wedding gifts for her and my granddad. So this scoop still has the workable doodah spring. It's great for muffins. It's just the right size for drop biscuits. It's an amazing thing. So I do want to mention before I puree this lovely concoction that it calls for a non-dairy milk. I don't add it. You could. But I don't use milk. I'm a little lactose intolerant. I don't mind non-dairy milks. I like oat milk, hemp milk, rice milk. I don't touch soy. It's just a personal opinion. And I don't really like nut milk, so many people are allergic. Plus, it takes so much water to grow tree nuts. Lots and lots. I mean, yeah, huge. California has a water shortage and water is limited, but that's where they grow most of the almonds, and it's a huge strain on their water supply. I know. So I just keep the veggie broth and the potatoes and the garlic, and I'm also going to put in a little bit of fresh ground Himalayan sea salt and some fresh ground pepper. I use all three colors. I use the white, the pink, the black. And now I take the wooden spoon out because we don't want to puree that. This is noisy, everyone. Brace yourself. We can probably cut the volume off. La 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 la. If you don't have a hand blender, get a good hand blender. Don't use your grandmother's grater. Get a good hand blender. These things are the bomb. Everyone says, oh, use a blender, use a blender. No, hand blender. Even when making a lentil meatloaf, which doesn't have meat, use your hand blender. This one, the one I'm using, I've had for a very long time. It's called a Braun Turbo. It's fantastic. It purees. It has different attachments to turn it into a processor, a kneader, a beater. It's a miracle in itself, and it's my friend. I use it a lot. I wouldn't use it as a sex toy. There's a hard blade. I have cut my finger quite well. You know, there are many kitchen things that possibly could be, but not this. I'm wondering if she's going to keep that in. And you don't need to wash this. You don't want to immerse this in water. You just shake it around and set it on the side till you're ready to do dishes. And everything is ready for our lovely pureed soup. I'm going to put the lid back on. I'm going to keep it at a very low simmer for when we're ready to have our lunch today. Thank you.